because every time Bayu devoured a city of creatures, his territory would bear no rumors of his devouring of creatures. For with his strength, as soon as such rumors emerged, he would quickly devour those spreading them. Whoosh! An unseen wave of terror covered the entire city, sweeping all the creatures within toward that gaping maw in the sky. Father, mother, brother, sister, a girl who had just become a true god was in a panic trying to grab onto her family members. But as they were swept up and began to fly, they couldn't come together again. They could only watch each other in despair. Ha ha! On the enormous head of great Saint Bayu, his face was filled with satisfaction, as he was obsessed with this kind of devouring. Suddenly, a hint of suspicion flashed in his eyes as he noticed a man dressed in black appearing in the field. This man in black had stepped out from the void, appearing as an ordinary cultivator. To the now city-sized great Saint Bayu, this man in black seemed like nothing more than a tiny speck. Yet, he was trembling inside because he recognized at a glance that this person was indeed the great Saint Luo, as depicted in intelligence reports. Great Saint Luo, that was a transcendence of primal chaos realm, a guest elder in flame wind ancient country. Luo Feng, seeing what was before him, did not hesitate to employ the Lai Yuan technique. Great Saint Bayu found that everything before him had vanished. He could no longer see great Saint Luo, and he could no longer feel his own existence. In the world he could see, there was only a single, endlessly majestic star. This immensely huge star, constructed by Luo Feng's spiritual will using the Lai Yuan technique, was focused into a singular force. At this moment, it came rolling in, crashing down upon the spiritual will of great Saint Bayu. His spiritual will was obliterated instantly without any chance to resist. After countless years, great Saint Bayu too had reached the pinnacle of primal chaos realm with his will. Even when facing a godly king's will would typically only suppress him. To kill him with just willpower? Such cases were rare among godly kings. But at this moment, his entire spiritual will was extinguished in an instant. Whoosh! The colossal body of great Saint Bayu in the sky, having lost consciousness, began to fall. Countless swept-up citizens, losing the force that swept them up, also began to fall toward the city below. Buzz! Luo Feng waved his hand, collecting the body of great Saint Bayu. His spiritual will is still within the primal chaos realm category, Luo Feng confirmed after the confrontation. As long as it's within the primal chaos realm, it can still be killed in a thought with the Lai Yuan technique. Continue reading at MVL. The leap from the pinnacle of primal chaos realm to godly king level is a qualitative change. Godly kings will combined with the Lai Yuan technique could sweep through all primal chaos realm willpower strongholds. But there is not much difference between the first realm and second realm of godly king. Even with the Lai Yuan technique at most, it would only suppress. The Lai Yuan technique is already quite powerful. Luo Feng was clear that completely killing a cultivator, preventing even reincarnation, was extremely difficult. Utter annihilation of will is quite rare and demands very high requirements. The ordinary secret techniques of willpower do not possess the power of the Lai Yuan technique. In the land of origin, complete annihilation usually follows two paths. One is the path of causality. Even for cultivators of the causal great Tao, substantial strength superiority is required to use causality to instantly eliminate all of the opponent's means of revival. The other and most challenging one to cultivate is the path of the soul. Powerful practitioners of the soul path can directly annihilate the opponent's soul, naturally leading to complete death. But the path of the soul has no great Tao within the supreme rules. It must be explored and grown within the darkness by oneself. It is widely acknowledged as the most difficult path to cultivate. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Dense swarms of cultivators fell from the sky, landing within the city. Father, mother, the girl regrouped with her parents, younger brother and sister. They were anxious and confusedly looked towards the sky. After landing within the city, countless cultivators looked towards the sky in fear. The once gigantic maw in the sky had now disappeared. Having killed this great Saint Bayu and obtained a complete body, I can provide it as food for Morosa, mused Luo Feng as he already traversed the void, heading for flame wind ancient country. Luo Feng, with the help of the Lai Yuan technique, had completely slain the great Saint Bayu. The Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall confirmed that the causal ties of great Saint Bayu had completely vanished and immediately informed each important guest of his death. Great Saint Bayu has been completely killed? A top powerhouse in the primal chaos realm, and he cultivated the great Tao of life origin as well. Although his combat ability is somewhat inferior, his ability to preserve his life is exceptionally strong. Who could have completely killed him? Could it be some of the top existences among the ancient godly kings of the land of origin? Those beings, each with a highly esteemed status, generally do not bully the weak. Great Saint Bayu was also very cautious, never daring to provoke those beings. What in the world happened? The death of Great Saint Bayu had many powerful individuals within the land of origin paying attention and feeling somewhat alarmed. They also worried that this terrifying existence might come after them. After all, most in the primal chaos realm were not as capable of preserving their lives as Great Saint Bayu was. Perhaps Great Saint Bayu chose to reincarnate immediately after encountering a formidable enemy. Some powerhouses speculated that Great Saint Bayu was still alive, just that he had reincarnated. That was normal. Faced with an overwhelming enemy, naturally one would choose to reincarnate cleanly and neatly. Luo Feng's divine power incarnation in Chu capital also received this important piece of intelligence from the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall. With his current status, he naturally had a long-term subscription to the important intelligence of the land of origin. This intelligence only records the death of Great Saint Beiyu, but not why or who killed him. It's completely unknown. Luo Feng, shuttling through the void on his return journey, found the intelligence to be somewhat amusing. When he acted, only the cultivators in that ordinary city were present. Given Luo Feng's realm, when he appeared before those ordinary cultivators could not even see him. Thus, the only one who knew of Luo Feng's action was Great Saint Beiyu himself. Luo Feng merely glanced at Great Saint Beiyu, and under the Lai Yuan technique, Great Saint Beiyu was dead. He didn't even have the chance to use the reincarnation secret art, so there was naturally no opportunity for the news to spread. With Luo Feng's tunneling transformation technique, he could shuttle through the void at tremendous speeds. Still, traveling from Tianji Icefield back to Flame Wind Ancient Country's Chu capital took about 6 hours. Marquee Mansion of Chuyu. I handed over a bunch of troublesome tasks to Brother Luo He, and Brother Luo He picked the task concerning Great Saint Beiyu. No sooner had he accepted it than Great Saint Beiyu died. Emperor Chuyu was a bit astonished. Based on the battle at Thousand Star Tower, Brother Luo He's physical body was powerful, easily sweeping through the peak of Primal Chaos Realm. But no matter how formidable the physique, it shouldn't be possible to kill a being of the Primal Chaos Realm completely. After all, Great Saint Beiyu had quite a few life-saving techniques. It seems that having a formidable physical body is merely what is observable of Brother Luo He's methods. He also has hidden lethal moves, possibly even able to completely kill a top Primal Chaos Realm being. Emperor Chuyu speculated, his eyes lighting up for a moment. Just what is Brother Luo He's true origin? Could he really be the reincarnation of a godly king? If he was the reincarnation of a godly king, it would make sense for him to have unknown techniques. Suddenly, Emperor Chuyu saw a figure arriving above the Marquee Mansion. Brother Luo He. Emperor Chuyu immediately went to greet him, and Luo Feng descended. Mission accomplished, Luo Feng said with a slight smile. Emperor Chuyu also expressed with admiration. I didn't expect Brother Luo He to have such methods, capable of completely killing a top Primal Chaos Realm being. When you were against 5 opponents before, it seems Brother Luo He still showed restraint. Luo Feng smiled. On one hand, those 5 were at the peak of the Primal Chaos Realm. He wasn't entirely sure he could kill them with the Lai Yuan technique. Furthermore, 2 of them were rank 1 marquises. Killing an eternal true god from the Imperial clan would put a bounty on his head, let alone a rank 1 marquis of the Imperial clan. The moment he moved against them, he probably would have lost his life. On the other hand, in Chu capital, he still needed to keep a low profile. Mission accomplished, but what proof is needed? Luo Feng asked. This task hasn't been claimed in a long time. You just accepted it and Great Saint Beiyu died. That's part of the proof already. If you have Great Saint Beiyu's body or weapons, you can just show them to me for recording, said Emperor Chuyu. If not, a record of your killing memory scene given to me will also suffice. Luo Feng turned his hand and took out a well-known double-edged axe belonging to Great Saint Beiyu. Emperor Chuyu glanced at it and nodded. That's enough, I've submitted the task. Your merit points should be awarded very soon. Luo Feng nodded. Remember to keep the matter of the task I completed confidential. Emperor Chuyu understood, nodding. Rest assured, I am directly responsible for your task. When I submit it, it is handled by the artifact spirit of Palace of Emperor Chu. Apart from the ancestor emperor, the outside world will not know. Luo Feng nodded. There was no need to publicize his ability to completely kill a top being of the Primal Chaos Realm. It was still best to keep such a lethal move hidden. Luo Feng's guest official order received a message. He had acquired 100,000 merit points as a reward. With enough merit points, I can now exchange them for the Great Tao of Destruction Origins, Extermination of 72 Blades Volume 1. Luo Feng's heart surged with eagerness. Originally having set his sights upon 2 inheritances, he had only exchanged for one last time. Luo Feng immediately bid farewell to Emperor Chuyu and headed to the palace of Emperor Chu to exchange for the long-coveted inheritance. Inside the palace of Emperor Chu, within the inheritance hall. Guest official Luo He, are you sure you want to exchange for Extermination of 72 Blades Volume 1? Asked the old artifact spirit of Palace of Emperor Chu, looking at Luo Feng. Yes, Luo Feng nodded. The old artifact spirit gave a slight nod, and he disappeared in an instant. The inheritance hall was engulfed in chaos, except for a faintly glowing light enveloping Luo Feng. The vast amount of inheritance information flowed into Luo Feng's mind. Luo Feng's consciousness quickly absorbed the massive amount of information, understanding the true nature of this inheritance. Luo Feng was somewhat shocked. He had previously only understood some of the basic information about the inheritance, but upon coming into contact with the real inheritance, Luo Feng was still stunned. The initial 8 tribulations life form, first calamity embodied 3 branches of the great Tao of life origin: life spirituality, body of life, and origin of life, and one needed to achieve perfection in all 3 branches for the cultivation of the first calamity. And Extermination of 72 Blades Volume 1 only contained 2 branches of the great Tao of destruction origin: the heaven-splitting lineage and dark heaven lineage. With just these 2 branches, the first volume of this inheritance required 90,000 merit points, only slightly less than the 8 tribulations life form, first calamity's 100,000 points. The Extermination of 72 Blades? With almost negligible life-preserving capability, why such a high cost? It is too strong. Luo Feng finally realized just how terrifying the path focused on slaughter and destruction could be. In the face of this path there was no need to protect oneself. By killing the enemy there would be no more threats. The blade technique he had comprehended seemed like an infant swatting at branches. It was many times inferior to the first volume of Extermination of 72 Blades. Heaven-splitting blade formula 3 styles. In the inheritance information received by Luo Feng, he saw those 3 blades. Each stroke of blade light was restrained, seemingly not very powerful. But a seemingly ordinary stroke could easily cut through all things, even severing the operation of laws. Swish. An ordinary stroke passed and everything was cleaved apart. Even the thick and mysterious world barrier was torn open with a crevice. The explosive power of my billions of units of transformation method couldn't even shake the world barrier the slightest. As far as I know, even some ancient godly kings can't break this braided cage barrier. Luo Feng looked at this ordinary stroke within the inheritance information. This one stroke, not strong in might, yet nothing could withstand its cut. It seemed as if everything was going to be cut open. Even the world barrier was about to be split. In the face of such a stroke, even the world barriers would be cleaved open. How many godly bodies could block it? Luo Feng pondered, noting that this was only the heaven-splitting blade technique. Boom. Luo Feng also saw the blade light from the dark heaven lineage within the inheritance information, which was even more restrained than the heaven-splitting blade technique, but this kind of restraint made Luo Feng feel somewhat apprehensive. The dark heaven blade technique is an extreme concentration of might, condensed to surpass the normal pinnacle of primal chaos realm by tens of thousands, even millions of times. The dark heaven lineage was the convergence and refinement of power. The same amount of power, if concentrated tens of thousands to millions of times. Swish. A very ordinary blade light, when wielded, could also destroy all things. In its presence, the braided cage barrier trembled, seemingly ready to crack any moment. This dark heaven blade technique has little might, but solely because it's condensed to the utmost, its destructive power far surpasses mine. Luo Feng mused, not surprised, as only upon perfection of the dark heaven lineage could one fully master the 3 styles of dark heaven blade technique. Upon perfection of the dark heaven lineage, one was already a godly king. It made sense that a destructive blade technique cultivated by a godly king was more powerful than his own. Fusing the heaven-splitting blade technique 3 styles and dark heaven blade technique 3 styles into one, Luo Feng saw the most core part of this inheritance. Combining the condensation of the dark heaven blade technique with the cuts through anything of the heaven-splitting blade technique. The blade light condensed to the utmost could easily rip a huge gash in the world barrier, wielding the power to destroy heaven and earth. Luo Feng felt as if his own body, no matter how formidable, would be annihilated in the face of such blade light. And this is only the first volume, comprising the first 3 strokes of Extermination of 72 Blades, Luo Feng thought silently. As the first volume, the creator of the blade technique also expounded on the true intent of the technique. The purpose of the blade technique was to transcend the cage, achieve limitless and ultimate destructive power, cut through everything, and even pursue the severing of all operational rules. Such a terrifying obsession, Luo Feng felt just by coming into contact with the inheritance, the obsession imbued by the creator of the blade technique within it. To cut through everything. Everything outside the cage equally to be severed. Extermination of 72 Blades represented only the strongest blade technique he left behind as an inheritance at that time. He was still pursuing a stronger blade technique, aiming to cut through even more formidable targets. In the palace of Emperor Chu, that emperor was observing Luo Feng. Could it be that he managed to thoroughly kill a top entity of the primal chaos realm? Could he be a reincarnated godly king? The emperor thought. No matter the origin, all life born in this origin world can be cultivated. Both ancient countries had the magnanimity to encompass the entire origin world. They could accommodate even pinnacle sector beasts, of course. They would not tolerate uncontrollable sector beasts that wreaked havoc. In terms of strength, I'm inferior to Emperor Qing. Apart from the 2 ancestors in the land of origin, Emperor Qing is the strongest and I can't compare. But in nurturing disciples, I'm not necessarily worse off. The emperor still felt a bit defiant. Among the imperial clan's 13 lineages, Emperor Qing has 15 direct disciples. 6 godly kings, 8 who have transcended the primal chaos realm, and 1 at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. Moreover, the 6 godly king disciples under the emperor also have numerous disciples, among which 2 have become godly kings. This shows how strong Emperor Qing's lineage is. I currently have 2 disciples, 1 who has transcended the primal chaos realm, and 1 at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm, the emperor considered. He was not as good as Emperor Qing, nor were his disciples. This Luo he may be a reincarnated godly king. If I take him as a direct disciple, wouldn't I have a godly king disciple in the future? The emperor thought, watching Luo Feng receive the inheritance. After becoming a guest official, he chose 2 inheritances. I'm not very familiar with the life origin lineage, but the destruction of origin lineage? Read latest chapters at MVL. My cultivation is precisely based on the great Tao of destruction origin. The emperor was quite pleased. It seems he should be my disciple. But the 2 inheritances he chose did not rely on cultivating with primordial force or primordial materials. They were inheritances for the enlightened. The enlightened's inheritance seeks no external assistance and aims for one's own Tao. Although this path is powerful, the difficulty is extremely high, the emperor reflected. I have to think what to prepare for my third disciple. The emperor pondered. In the 13 lineages of the imperial clan, when emperors take disciples they bestow weapons, resources and other items. This has become customary. Inside Luo Feng's cave dwelling, with Morosa and Moyu Qingyan, this pair who were essentially master and apprentice, were eating and drinking. Qingyan, Morosa, gnawing on a big chunk of meat with relish, said, "Your master has now transcended the primal chaos realm. The resources bestowed upon you casually are things even eternal true gods cannot beg for. You, a mere true god of void space, must seize this opportunity and not let your master's pains go to waste." I understand. Moyu Qingyan also knew that as a disciple of one who had transcended the primal chaos realm, his strength was indeed too weak. And another thing. Morosa said, "In Chu capital, many daughters of prestigious families have taken a liking to you. You must stay clear-headed, boy." Moyu Qingyan chuckled in response. The willing advances from daughters of prestigious families indeed tempted Moyu Qingyan, who came from a small place like Huyang City. For cultivators there is no end to life, and women are not a necessity, Morosa said. Look at me, look at Yuan, look at your master. None of us have women by our sides. What? Women can distract you from your dedication to cultivation. Moyu Qingyan was taken aback upon hearing this. Indeed. His master, Lord Luo Sa Yuan, none of them had women in their lives. Cultivation requires focus, said Morosa. But there are many cultivators who do take wives, Moyu Qingyan couldn't help but counter, his heart moved by two among the many daughters of prestigious families during his time in Chu capital. You know the reasoning, it's up to you to decide. Morosa stood up. Moyu Qingyan sat alone. He had seen many couples like his own parents who would risk their lives for each other, and had nurtured their children lovingly and supportively. I should wait and see, Moyu Qingyan thought, feeling recently he had been too dazzled by these women to see their true hearts. Morosa came out and immediately saw his master Luo Feng descending from the sky. Master. Morosa promptly went to greet him. Come with me, Luo Feng said with an enigmatic smile. Morosa, stirred by his master's smile, immediately repressed his joy and followed his master to the quiet room. In the quiet room within a layer of Star Tower, this was the space exclusively for Morosa's cultivation. Both Luo Feng and Morosa were here now. This trip out I killed a top-notch existence in the primal chaos realm, Luo Feng looked at Morosa. He cultivated in the great Tao of life origin with a particularly unique physical body. With a wave of his hand, the massive body of Great Saint Bayu fell into this space layer. Upon seeing it, Morosa's eyes instantly lit up. He felt an ominous presence from the body, far stronger than the nascent primal chaos bloodline of Shui Yun right before his death. To have a body left behind after killing one from the primal chaos realm, Morosa was pleasantly surprised. Generally, if the opponent has a medium for resurrection as long as there's a thread of consciousness, a mere thought could completely disintegrate the true body. Thus, a primal chaos realm corpse was quite a rarity. Since my ascension to the primal chaos realm, progress has been slow, Morosa couldn't help but say. I could only rely on absorbing the energies of heaven and earth, but this time, my strength will finally be able to rise substantially. Morosa's absorption of energies from heaven and earth wasn't slow. Roughly within an era he could absorb the energy reserves of a perfect divine body of the primal chaos realm. But the energy from heaven and earth was pure, offering limited assistance. The body of a mighty being contained their own laws, greatly benefiting the growth of the inner realm. Go ahead and cultivate at your own pace. Luo Feng smiled and then left the space layer. Immediately, Morosa utilized a secret technique, and the enormous body of Great Saint Bayu began to be absorbed and digested. The aspects of the great Tao of life origin contained within that body also began to merge into Morosa's inner realm, allowing the realm to grow at a painstakingly slow rate. With the growth of the realm, Morosa naturally came to comprehend further mysteries of the great Tao of destruction origin. Normal cultivators would have some emphasis on different branches of the great Tao of destruction origin during their cultivation, but Morosa was comprehending each branch simultaneously, progressing comprehensively. In Star Tower, Luo Feng's exclusive cultivation space, Luo Feng began to ponder over the extermination of 72 blades. Previously, Luo Feng had not received any emperor-level inheritance in the direction of the great Tao of destruction origin. The world-breaking 9 blades he had been cultivating was created by an individual of the primal chaos realm, who had not penetrated even one branch of the great Tao of destruction origin, leaving a technique that only deepened Luo Feng's confusion. Even with Luo Feng's powerful spiritual will, he could understand some of the mysteries of the great Tao of destruction origin as demonstrated by Morosa, but still made slow progress. This is true inheritance of the great Tao. Upon careful study of the first volume of Extermination of 72 Blades, and the wealth of inheritance information about the heaven-splitting lineage, Luo Feng felt tears welling up in his eyes. The creator of Extermination of 72 Blades, with his high realm, had discussed the heaven-splitting lineage from various perspectives, explaining it clearly and lucidly. Many confusions Luo Feng had since becoming a primal chaos walker naturally disappeared. With a deeper understanding, Luo Feng continuously advanced in his knowledge of the heaven-splitting lineage. Luo Feng pondered slowly, studying every sentence carefully before moving on to the next. With such meticulous study, after more than half an era, he had thoroughly researched both the heaven-splitting lineage and the dark heaven lineage. After one thorough study, Luo Feng felt a profound transformation within himself. So, the heaven-splitting lineage and the dark heaven lineage are like this. Luo Feng previously saw things as if through a fog filled with many confusions, but now he had a clear understanding of the two paths. He had even delved into the deepest study of the heaven-splitting lineage, and had already grasped a great deal of it. Of course, this was the easiest part to understand. The more profound parts were increasingly difficult. Many at the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm were stuck at the final bottleneck, the last step that prevented them from becoming a godly king. A truly top-notch inheritance is of great help. Luo Feng had never worried about inheritance before becoming a walker in the primal chaos realm. At that time, the inheritance of the Duandong River lineage and the teachings of his master, the mountain-sitting guest, were enough for him to comprehend. He did not empathize with the eternal true gods who longed for an inheritance. Only after becoming a walker in the primal chaos realm did he feel the difference with or without an inheritance. Whoosh! Luo Feng sat there, his palm gently sweeping across the void, as if a knife slicing through tofu, easily parting layer upon layer of spatial folds. To understand the operation of the laws is to exert 10,000, a million times the effect with a single effort. This is the Tao, Luo Feng said with a smile. Suddenly, the grand galaxy blade light appeared in the space of the star tower, 20,000 strands of galaxy blade light in yin-yang particle form, each with terrible might, now all unleashing Blade River Slash. The Blade River Slash was Luo Feng's attempt at simplifying the most common primal chaos realm blade technique because of its simplicity. It also placed a minimal burden on the spirit. Boom. Within this layer of space in the star tower, the spatial folds were all annihilated, turning into chaos, with only the world's membrane walls being thick and solid. The Blade River Slash can be even simpler and purer. With a deeper understanding of the heaven-splitting lineage and the dark heaven lineage, Luo Feng began to integrate these insights into the Blade River Slash, starting to change this move and gradually giving the Blade River Slash some simple applications of the heaven-splitting lineage and the dark heaven lineage. The most rudimentary application put very little strain on the spirit, yet the power had even increased slightly. Let's see how many Blade River Slashes I can perform at the same time now, thought Luo Feng. 30,000 galaxy blade lights tore the space apart. 40,000 galaxy blade lights, 50,000 galaxy blade lights. The number climbed to 83,000 galaxy blade lights before Luo Feng felt the burden on his spirit becoming strenuous. Contemplating on the extermination of 72 blades for almost an era, and the insights from the heaven-splitting lineage and the dark heaven lineage let me wield this many blade lights? Luo Feng couldn't help but feel joyous, as this power was several times greater than before. If I reach the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm in both the heaven-splitting lineage and the dark heaven lineage, how high my realm becomes, how many blade lights could I control? Luo Feng was very curious about his own limits at the primal chaos realm level. Enjoy exclusive content from. Luo Feng suddenly looked at this space, with a shocked and puzzled expression. My galaxy blade light has increased by several folds this time, and while I may be lacking in profound complexity compared to those at the initial tier of the godly king level, the sheer might is definitely not inferior. Luo Feng was very clear about this. The galaxy blade light in the yin-yang particle form, a single unit of galaxy blade light unleashing Blade River Slash, is comparable to the full force strike of a middle layer strong being in the primal chaos realm, burning divine power to its limits. 83,000 of such powerful beings uniting? In terms of pure might, they are certainly not inferior to the first realm of a godly king. The star tower was refined by my master. My teacher is also just at the first realm of a godly king, and the star tower he refined should also just be a secret treasure of the godly king first realm, thought Luo Feng. Like the long staff I got from Marquis Chuyuan before, it was an emperor-level weapon. As a secret treasure of the first realm of a godly king, the star tower indeed should be able to withstand my full force strike. But it should feel some pressure, right? But every time I strike with full force, the star tower doesn't feel any pressure at all. Previously, Luo Feng's lack of strength did not allow him to notice this, but as he approached the level of the first realm of a godly king, he discovered this issue. Swish. Luo Feng stepped forward to the inner wall of the star tower and punched it, causing a slight vibration before the wall easily dissipated the force. Luo Feng gradually increased his explosive force, making his punches heavier and heavier, until Luo Feng's several tens of billions of units of transformation method power fully erupted. With 83,000 units of galaxy blade light, Luo Feng could execute the primal chaos realm level technique, Blade River Slash. Yet, once he erupted with several tens of billions units of transformation method power, Luo Feng could only execute the most crude techniques, but the power was enormously vast, bombarding the tower wall with a thunderous roar. The wall of the tower still only vibrated slightly before dissipating the force. What? My full force melee attack against the wall of the tower doesn't shake it at all. Luo Feng couldn't believe it. That means if I were trapped inside, I couldn't escape at all. Even beings 10 times, 100 times stronger than me, if trapped inside, may not necessarily be able to get out. As the owner of the Star Tower, Luo Feng could sense that his attacks were still far from the tower's limit of endurance. As to how far from the limit he couldn't tell. He only knew that his current full force burst didn't stress the Star Tower in the slightest. Luo Feng couldn't believe it. A godly king first realm secret treasure can't possibly be this strong. This defied common sense. A godly king first realm secret treasure, to suppress beings of the same level, it would need to consume divine power and careful control. My teacher, the mountain-sitting guest as far as I know, is just the ruler of a fringe nation on the land of origin, pondered Luo Feng. My teacher mentioned that there was an accident during the refining of the star tower, and a golden light merged into the star tower, accelerating its formation. Luo Feng hadn't noticed anything amiss when he discussed this with his teacher before. But now thinking back on it, a godly king undergoing artifact refining would have strict control over the environment, and yet an accident occurred that allowed a foreign object to merge into the star tower? The appearance of this foreign object clearly exceeded the godly king's control over the environment. This star tower, Luo Feng carefully sensed it for the first time, discovering some of the mystery of the secret treasure that had been with him for countless years. While Luo Feng was dedicating himself to cultivation, a transcendent being from the primal chaos realm arrived in Chu capital. At one of Marquis Chu Feng's other residences. Brother has arrived. A handsome man with 3 eyes looked into the distance and immediately stood up. Marquis Chu Feng also stood up and looked, only to see a figure that had seemingly appeared close by in a blink of an eye. The figure was clad in a simple yet slightly tattered dark robe. At first glance, it seemed merely a damaged robe, but upon closer inspection, it felt like looking at a tattered dark world. The figure had a face with blue scales, appearing ugly, yet his eyes were calm and gentle, as if they contained the worlds of heaven and earth. As he approached, he naturally influenced the surrounding environment, as if the very operation of heaven and earth revolved around him. To master a branch of the origin Great Tao is to become a godly king. The complete Great Tao of life origin can evolve the operational laws of the primordial cosmos. A branch of the Tao is also sufficient to sustain the cosmic operational laws of a small universe. With this, a godly king can create a small universe. Godly kings operate the laws of the cosmos independently, possessing unimaginable abilities. When figures like the one in the dark robe arrive, the cosmos centering around them is a common phenomenon seen with godly kings. Lord Yuanxiu of Yuanxiu Mansion is clearly only a transcendent of the primal chaos realm, yet he can influence the operation of heaven and earth, more terrifying than the last time I saw him. Marquis Chu Feng thought apprehensively and immediately went forward to greet him. Brother, this is Marquis Chu Feng, said the handsome 3-eyed man, stepping forward with a smile. Marquis Chu Feng greets the mansion lord, Marquis Chu Feng said with considerable humility. Becoming a transcendent of the primal chaos realm is equivalent to reaching the first realm of the godly king. Such beings seldom care about first-rank marquises. Only a first-rank marquis needs to seek them, and whether they bother with a marquis depends on their mood. When I last saw Marquis Chu Feng, he was still a second-rank marquis, said Lord Yuanxiu with a smile. Now he has already become a first-rank marquis. For someone who cultivates with a regular godly body to reach this level, Marquis Chu Feng is truly extraordinary. Lord, you flatter me, please have a seat, Marquis Chu Feng said warmly. Soon the 3 of them sat down and attendants brought over food and drinks. I heard that the mansion lord came to Chu capital to visit a godly king? Marquis Chu Feng asked. Indeed, I intended to visit a godly king this time in Chu capital. However, I heard, there is a transcendent of the primal chaos realm in Chu capital now, known as Great Saint Luo He, Lord Yuanxiu said, clearly interested. Marquis Chu Feng nodded. This Great Saint Luo He is quite mysterious, rarely making moves. He previously fought against 5 by himself and swept through 5 pinnacle beings of the primal chaos realm, revealing his true strength to the outside world. Given his low profile, it seems he also focuses on cultivation. Marquis Chu Feng, I desire to meet this Great Saint Luo He and have a dialogue on the Tao. Please help me arrange it to see if Great Saint Luo He is willing, said Lord Yuanxiu. Marquis Chu Feng's spirits lifted. He wasn't afraid of a transcendent of the primal chaos realm asking for help, he was afraid they might ignore him entirely. Rest assured, Lord, I will arrange everything properly, said Marquis Chu Feng. During his period of cultivation, Luo Feng occasionally came out to relax his mind. Master, Marquis Chu Feng personally paid a visit, Morosa told Luo Feng, but you were in closed-off cultivation at the time, so I didn't disturb you. He paid a visit? Luo Feng was surprised. After all, Marquis Chu Feng was a first-rank nobility of the imperial clan, and he had left after finding Luo Feng in closed-off cultivation, respecting the protocol. Did he mention what it was about? Luo Feng asked. Marquis Chu Feng also mentioned that his good friend, Lord Yuanxiu of Yuanxiu Mansion, intends to host a banquet for you to discuss the Tao. His visit was to see if you would be willing to attend the banquet to discuss the Tao. Morosa said. Discuss the Tao? Lord Yuanxiu. Luo Feng naturally knew of him. Emperor Chu's lineage had only 2 transcendent beings of the primal chaos realm. One was Marquis Darkfire, a direct disciple of Emperor Chu. The other was Lord Yuanxiu, a direct disciple of the sovereign of the first-class country, Wanjie Kingdom. In the land of origin there are 3 major first-class forces, Tianmu Kingdom, Wanjie Kingdom and the Eastern Extreme Territory. The Eastern Extreme Territory is the last surviving place of the original aborigines of the land of origin. Although these aborigines are somewhat lacking in intelligence and perceptiveness, their gathering also qualifies them as a first-class force. Tianmu Kingdom is known for possessing a pinnacle sector beast. Wanjie Kingdom's prominence comes from the sovereign of Wanjie Kingdom. The sovereign's power alone has transformed a region into a first-class force, ensuring that he stands among the pinnacle existences of the land of origin. The sovereign's disciples are numerous. Some serve as guest elders in the Thunder Ancient Country, others in the Flame Wind Ancient Country. Master, will you attend the banquet to discuss the Tao? Morosa asked. Agree to it, Luo Feng nodded. A dialogue on the Tao with a peer at the same level of strength interested him as well. After all, like Lord Yuan Xiu, those who have achieved transcendence through primordial items or primordial bloodline are the norm in the land of origin. This would also be an opportunity to see the differences between him and them. In Chu capital, the celebrated 13-star hall, Lord Yuan Xiu was hosting the banquet here, specifically to honor great Saint Luo He. Previously, the 13 emperors of the Flame Wind Ancient Country had gathered once in Chu capital, and that time Emperor Chu himself had established the 13-star hall. After the gathering of the 13 emperors here, the 13-star hall naturally became famous, and hosting a banquet here was also costly. This time, everything was arranged by Marquis Chu Feng, naturally done in a grand manner. A dialogue between two transcendent beings of the primal chaos realm. This is really rare. I heard that aside from Marquis Chu Yuan, the other 6 first-rank marquises have all come to attend the banquet. Too bad we're not qualified to see it. Some chefs preparing food quietly discussed this. They were all well-known chefs within Chu capital, each one at the eternal true god level. Today there was even a chef from the primal chaos realm present, personally invited by Marquis Chu Feng. In another building. Sister Yu, I went to great lengths to arrange for you to perform in front of the hall today, said a chubby man earnestly. Today the upper echelons of Chu capital are gathering, 6 of the 7 first-rank marquises are here. Even 2 transcendents from the primal chaos realm. There are more than 10 direct disciples of the godly kings. If even one of them takes an interest in you and is willing to help you, you could escape your predicament. Marquis Chu Lu, thank you so much. If it weren't for your help, I might not have survived till today, said a woman dressed in light blue. Alas, as a third-class noble of the imperial clan, I hold no power, the chubby man shook his head. In Chu capital, I'm even less influential than those with actual power in the primal chaos realm. There are 29 marquises in the Emperor Chu's lineage, but only 2 of them possess the strength of the average primal chaos realm, and Marquis Chu Lu is one of them. To the imperial clan, those of the weakest primal chaos realm are considered worthless, with no cultivation value. Luo Feng's blade light of the galaxy had the force of a limit-burning divine power full strike at the mid-layer of the primal chaos realm, much stronger than Marquis Chu Lu. Marquis Chu Lu had grown accustomed to such days, preferring pleasure and making numerous like-minded friends. I must remind you, the chubby man said, the 2 highest-ranking guests at this banquet are from the transcendence of the primal chaos realm, one of whom is great Saint Luo He. He really enjoys listening to music. The woman in light blue's eyes lit up. This is secret information about great Saint Luo He that cost me quite a bit of cosmic sand, continued the chubby man. Back when he was in Huyang City, he favored 2 musicians who excelled in music. Your performance. If it pleases him, your status in Chu capital will be solidified. Thank you, Marquis Chu Lu, the woman expressed her gratitude. That's all I can do, the rest is up to you, the chubby man waved his hand and left. The woman in light blue patiently waited. She was not the only performer at this banquet. The banquet admitted 6 first-class nobles of the imperial clan, 8 second-class nobles, 9 guest elders and 15 disciples directly taught by godly kings, along with their attendant servants. Of course, the 2 most central seats in the main hall were reserved for the 2 transcendents from the primal chaos realm. They're here. Great Saint Luo He is here. The banquet was primarily in honor of great Saint Luo He. When Luo Feng arrived with Emperor Chu Yu, they naturally attracted attention from all sides. Some lesser nobles, families of first and second-class nobles, casual members of the primal chaos realm, and even some servants and attendants eagerly looked forward to glimpsing the man in black. As the man in black appeared, Emperor Chu Yu slightly lagged behind. Whoosh. Outside the main hall, Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion personally appeared to greet them. Brother Luo He, Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion smiled at Luo Feng. Brother Yuan Xiu, Luo Feng also spoke, smiling back at this transcended being of the primal chaos realm, the center seemingly governed by the cosmic operational laws. Able to influence the cosmic operational laws? Luo Feng inwardly sighed, something he was incapable of. Solely in terms of the path, realm, he was still inferior to these transcendents of primal chaos realm. Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion observed Luo Feng, his strongest technique being the dark mansion prison cultivated within his body, capable of imprisoning everything far and wide within an instant. What a terrifying physical body, Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion noted upon seeing Luo Feng, perceiving that the unassuming man in black, despite appearing ordinary, was much denser than the vast cosmical environment around him. Immensely dense, probably very difficult to pull into the dark mansion. Even without a fight, just by looking once, Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion already made some deductions. His physical body is much denser than some who first entered the God King realm from ancient existences, he thought to himself. Brother Luo He, please? Please. Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion and Luo Feng both remained very polite, as their interactions this time were merely about discussing the path, so both sides were courteous. Had it been a fight, things would have been starkly different. Together they entered the main hall, and the numerous first and second-class nobles, guest elders and disciples of godly kings all stood up to greet them and soon took their seats. Commence the banquet, Marquis Chu Feng instructed. The banquet officially began with courses of exquisite food, wine and fruits presented. Luo Feng tasted some and was surprised. The dishes, at their weakest, matched the standards of Black Butcher of the Fire Realm restaurant. Some even far surpassed him. A seemingly ordinary platter appeared almost like the essence of heaven and earth converging, very appetizing. After trying one, Luo Feng felt this dish's influence on the soul. It even exceeded many heavenly rarities, sharply enhancing his sensitivity to all things and significantly aiding his cultivation. Experience new stories on. Elder Brother Yu's culinary skills have indeed become even more impressive. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion commented appreciatively after tasting. Culinary skills reaching primal chaos realm, truly remarkable. Luo Feng also knew him, one of Emperor Chu's lineage's guest elders, Yu Jiufeng, whose strength was at the top tier of the primal chaos realm, but it was his culinary skills that had reached this realm. In the entire Chu capital, he was the best in culinary arts. You flatter me too much. Yu Jiufeng, who had also entered the hall, had his pride before some noble marquises but showed much humbleness before the two transcendents of the primal chaos realm. Diverse dishes, rare spirit fruits and exquisite wines continued to be served. Dance music songs. Performers at the banquet were at least at the eternal true god level in their respective arts. Weaker individuals watching these performances would find their spirits uncontrollably affected. Luo Feng and others, however, could enjoy them with ease and pleasure. Truly worthy of Chu capital, several performers today are more skilled than even the Dreamflower Tower master. Luo Feng remarked in admiration, thinking to himself, in the future I could utilize this 4-7 emotions of heart refining technique. Long years of cultivation tend to make emotions increasingly indifferent, with smaller fluctuations. However, 7 emotions of heart refining technique facilitates awakening of the spirit. The performance has ended. As the performance by the woman in light blue concluded, she noticed the surrounding distinguished guests all smiling and chatting jovially. The two transcendents occupying the main seats seemed to be casually chatting and didn't seem particularly interested in her. Not daring to stare directly, she promptly and obediently exited once her time was up. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.